All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to this week's episode of Game Changers, the WAA Podcast. I am your co-host, Joseph. This is my other co-host, Alec. How we doing?
Doing good, man. I think can we say we're in fall yet, or is it summer officially over?
Summer
Right?
over
Technically.
already.
I mean, August.
When does fall start?
I don't know. I had a heart attack, though. Not actually, but about a week ago, realizing it was August. I thought it was still
It's
July
crazy.
or whatever it was. Yeah, I looked and, someone was talking about plans in end of August or something, and it scared me.
It's wild.
Yeah, but it got me excited because this is, in my opinion, I was sitting there this morning just thinking about it, like top seasons of all time.
Fall's number one,
Fall.
without a doubt. Autumn, yeah, no
Yeah.
question. No
Growing
question.
up, everyone used to say summer, but I think summer is the most overrated.
Only reason why is because you didn't have school in the summer. So, now that you're an
That's
adult,
it.
it's like fall's the best. Yeah,
That's
without
it.
a doubt.
Yeah.
Yeah, dude.
We still have, our lives are not changing. We still got to go do our thing. So,
Yep.
I don't know.
Yeah, I feel like summer also used to feel a lot more significant because it was like there was a clear beginning and a clear end. There was like an actual start date, like the first day of summer was the first day of school getting out, and then like the
Yeah.
first day of summer being over was you going back to school. But now it's like fluid; you have no idea. But
Yeah. I wonder if that would change if I had like a boat and a lake, full access to 24/7. Like probably like summer a little bit more, but yeah. Anyway,
probably
that season talk. No, I'm excited. This is going to be our last time recording before college football starts. This is going to be the last one. So last
that's right.
Saturday and starting next Saturday, college football is going to be going on every weekend till 2025. Read that this morning and I
Right.
jumped out of bed. So we are
Tis the
here.
season. What's better,
Tis the
Christmas or
season.
college football season?
College football season. Nothing against the
I love
birth of
it.
Jesus, but yeah, no, that sounds really sacrilegious. That's not what I mean. But, yeah, let's get into it. There's a lot going on, NFL and college football. Of course, a lot of news, a lot of contract negotiations that are
Yeah.
definitely getting worked up. But let's start here. So there's a player, Caleb Downs. I don't know if you're familiar with him, but either way, he is.
Yes.
Okay,
Yep.
yeah, he created him and his brand through Ohio State created their own NIL launch app for players to
Yeah, I
basically
saw
swipe.
this.
Yeah, I believe it's called. I'm looking right now at it. It's called Launch Point in the App Store today.
Hmm.
I don't know if this is on Apple or not, but okay, you could use beta to sign up.
Yeah. I
So
think
I
it's
wonder if the
limited
beta.
right now to certain schools, but yeah, I saw this. It's very
Yeah,
interesting.
I kind of want to
Um,
download it. I
no,
know I'm not an athlete, but I want to see like the UI and kind of figure out like you probably have to get verified though in order to like actually be on
yeah,
that. Just for like, casuals like yeah.
most of them you do. I think the launch of this. First of all, nothing against Caleb Downs. This is just yet another marketplace. It's another option. It's another piece of the pie, and the pie is fairly simple. It's the very reason we exist, which is a severe lack of professional agents available for college athletes who want to pursue the NIL opportunities. And so when there is nothing to fill that hole or that vacuum, something fills it. And right now it's Open Doors and Athlete Strong and this new one. And so these are just going to keep popping up. And I don't think they're necessarily bad. They're just, I don't know, they're not doing anything different. All it is just another platform. And Caleb Downs is smart enough to realize that I can have a piece of every NIL deal that happens. Because if it's his company, they're going to charge a fee. I saw another one that launched. It's called like Booster or something like that. And they touted that they're like, they said that athletes, they were like bragging about this, that athletes keep 80% of the deals. And I'm like, that's a really, really high fee. 20% like of a deal is a lot of money. So like, but they were like saying that like it was a really great thing, which is, I don't know, fairly interesting to me that that was, I don't know. There's just going to keep being more and more marketplaces that pop up and probably
Yeah.
absorbed and whatnot. I'm shocked, and I'm waiting for the day in the near future that there's just one super, marketplace. Open Doors dominates right now, and they're just going to go out and probably, absorb or buy out these other companies, which, whatever. Again, they're indirect competitors to agents, but yeah.
That was my first reaction when I saw Caleb Downs coming out with it. I just looked to see like what it was about first before I like made an assumption.
Yeah.
But my whole thing was, is it just another like Open Doors, essentially? And that's
Yep.
what it seems like.
Yeah.
But yeah, I agree
Yeah.
with everything on your stance on that.
Yeah.
I mean, it's interesting. We'll see.
Yeah.
Uh,
Do you want to know
but
what's crazy? So I don't know how long ago it happened, maybe a week or two ago. The NCAA released this thing called NIL Assist. Basically, it's an aggregate data, dashboard that shows all NIL deal disclosures from the beginning of NIL. And it's fairly comprehensive, and you can go in and get into the nitty gritty of like NIL deals that have happened. And if you look at just 2024, so let's look at like January 1st to July 31st, and like they break it down by like transaction types, so like social media post, royalty, public appearance, outside employment, whatever. Excuse me. So you can filter it down to just see transaction types called representation disclosure, as in like athletes who signed with an agent, and then you can look at their statistics. And so if we go to representation disclosure just for 2024, and let's look at football. Athletes in football who signed with an agent January 1st or July. Oh, wait, no, not July. I want to do January 1st to August. What is today? August 17th?
Yeah,
Let's look at
17th.
August 17th.
Yeah.
So the average athlete's earning is $102,000 just in 2024 alone. So athletes who have an agent have on average earned $100,000 already in the 8 months of the year. That's insane. That's really good. That's amazing. And last year in 2023, the median, so not the average, the median, which is probably significantly more accurate, was $45,000.
Wow.
So that means if you had an agent in 2023, you made about 50 grand, which is really awesome. But yeah, I don't know. It's really interesting. It's nilassist.ncaa.org. A lot of good information on there for anyone who wants to look into that information. But yeah, I just thought that was really crazy.
No kidding. That's insane, actually. So just the fact that 2023 and then 2024, you doubled the literally. That's
Yeah, it's wild.
Yeah, I'm gonna go in there and just play around on that. I didn't know, but thanks for that, man. That's wow.
Yeah, man. Yeah.
So let's go into. I was looking, of course. Can't really miss it. It's been all over like ESPN, but actually, you know what? Since you're a Vikings fan, let's get it over with. First off, before we start, I'm sorry. I truly am. I want the best for you and your organization, and I actually
Rough off season.
I love O'Connell. I actually think he's a great head coach, and Justin Jefferson is the man. But yeah, I saw today or yesterday they signed. I'm gonna butcher his name, but Matt Corral, quarterback. I don't know if they're not for a starter, but I know they need depth now, of course, because JJ's out, and then Jordan Addison didn't have that picture right away. I'm curious, especially with production with Justin and him being happy in his situation. I know he's the highest paid receiver right now, highest paid non quarterback in the league, actually, to be exact, 35 mil. So that's yeah. I mean, he's gotten paid. He's been, the Vikings are putting their worth on him as deserved. But you got to think too of him being happy or unhappy, in a situation of going into another year of, last year of Kirk Cousins being injured and kind of dealing with hiccups and then going towards this season again. And he's going to have 1,000-yard season regardless of who's on that quarterback room. But,
Oh, for
Justin
sure.
Jefferson demands of being who he is. It's just interesting. I don't know. It makes me sad because I hate when teams like that just get taken out of their conference and then their
Before they even had
divisions.
a chance. Yeah, dude.
Yeah,
Sucks.
because I love the competitiveness, and I'm not even a Vikings fan, but I just love to see because I love Jordan Addison too. I'm so high on him, and I think he's going to be a top receiver as well. And it just also looks
Yep.
back to all the Kirk. I wonder what Kirk Cousins is thinking right now as well.
I know, dude.
And Vikings
Seriously.
fans, it's so I don't know. How are you feeling though?
Yeah, man. I mean, whatever. I'm used to this. I didn't have my hopes up in the first place. It's what can you do? That's all I could say. But honestly, I think what's more interesting is we were texting the group chat, and I am actually really curious what Kirk Cousins thinks about this. But when Atlanta drafted the QB in the first round, Penix, his agent said that that Kirk Cousins found out as they were doing it. As they were calling Penix, they also called Kirk Cousins and were like, "Hey, by the way," and I don't know, man. I have thoughts on that. I think Kirk Cousins is a great dude. I think he's a decent quarterback, and but I think to do that, first of all, doesn't really make sense logically. You sign him to a 5-year, fully guaranteed, insane deal, and now Michael Penix is his backup for the next 5 years. What's their play here? What's the point of this?
Yeah, it could end up being good, but in hindsight, right now, yeah, it's stupid. Because the Falcons are definitely a team and organization that needs spots to be filled, especially with the pick. That's what I don't know if it was 9th or whatever they had. You have basically a lottery
It was
pick
high.
in that sense. Yeah. So, and there's a lot of depth that needs to be covered, especially with that team. They have a lot of talent, but yeah, it's interesting. I think the approach, what I would call what's going to happen is Kirk Cousins is going to be there for 2 to 3 years, and Penix will take over. What they want to happen is for Penix to be under Kirk Cousins for a certain amount of years, right? Like the whole Jordan Love, Rodgers thing, the Mahomes, Alex Smith, the whole mentor, how it all works out. And I get it. But also at the same time, it's interesting using Penix in that situation because Penix was one of the only quarterbacks drafted that was, he's one of the oldest quarterbacks in the league. In that draft class. So he wasn't, I know, they're all juniors and seniors at the day. It's a year gap, but it is interesting to see how that is going to play because, I also think Kirk Cousins gets a lot of hate too with just the age. It always gets brought up about him being, is he 34, 35? I don't know.
Yep.
He's in his
He's
mid-30s.
been in the league for 13 years, yeah.
Yeah, and he just – that's not how he dominates, though. He doesn't dominate by his – he's not running. He's not, he's not using his legs to take advantage. It's all up here. Of course, his arm isn't slowing down at all. Maybe he's not throwing the ball 70 yards on a rope. But, okay, Kirk Cousins is, he's the one that's going to ace the Wonderlic score and then walk away. That's Kirk Cousins right there.
The Netflix QB series or whatever, that was awesome watching Kirk Cousins. That was really, really awesome. Getting an inside look at that. By the way, so you think maybe 2027 will be Kirk Cousins potentially, and then Michael Penix takes over?
I'm just curious
what you thought. What do you think his last year and then Michael Penix takes over? He currently has a deal through 2027.
So what? Okay, he agreed to a 4-year contract with the Falcons. Signing bonus,
$180 million.
Yeah. Okay.
Guarantee $90 million guaranteed at signing.
Okay. Yeah. They're gonna. So he gets the 90. I say 3 to 4. Then you have to respect that 4-year mark because it's not just an average.
Because if they cut him after if they cut him in 2020 after 2026, their dead cap hit is $12.5 million.
Yeah, no, they're in a situation right there. There's no other reason why Penix is getting drafted though. They see something that the league is not seeing,
Yeah,
at that pick, and you're not just going to take a
and
first
there's
round lottery pick.
and there, it's not worth peanuts to have a veteran quarterback mentor and train someone like that for 3. That's super valuable.
Yeah,
That's
I
super
wish they did it
valuable.
differently though. It's just,
Yeah,
and I mean, Kirk Cousins is probably the best person to be put in the situation. I don't know the person that well. I don't, like we don't know
yeah,
him. No, it's like only his inside camp and family. But I could tell. I'm gonna assume he seems like a decent guy off the field, and that's more of just the Netflix series, kind of how he holds himself.
literally.
You
Yeah,
know, I mean, that's
yeah,
all that I'm gaining from that. But it's just an interesting position because you get basically backdoored last minute in that deal with Penix getting drafted. Don't know. You find
yeah,
out the same as the world finds out. And now you're going to have that pressure, of course, to lead the franchise. But at the same time, you have that pressure to choose to mentor this young rookie, or you don't have to as well. You can kind of go on your business and do what you have to do. So it's that whole
yep,
battle of wondering his character around that
yeah,
off the field, that preparation and stuff that become like that rookie to vet like mentality of like what these players have. Is Kirk
100%,
Cousins going to give that to Penix, or is he going to kind of just
100%.
brush it off and
Yeah,
f you to the Falcons? Which I wouldn't be surprised either. It's yeah.
I'd be a little
So
surprised just because of his character and like I don't know, just yeah, I'd be
yeah,
slightly surprised. Yeah, I don't know. It's
I
interesting.
wouldn't at the same
I
time, but I would. I don't know.
You would get it. You'd
I
empathize with me. Like, yeah, okay, I understand that.
Yeah, yeah. So
Yeah,
moving on though, NFL. Brandon Ayuk still not signed. No deal
yep,
has been done. I think it's wild. It's him and CD, of course, are on the front lines cover of like contract negotiations. I always feel like there's a couple of these every year. That there's a holdout till week one. And I understand. It's not
hmm
like a dog to the players. It's a business at the end of the day. They have to take care of themselves, their families,
yeah,
and generations. It's like you're in a
yep.
position and they can get that. So good for you. Take it. But yeah,
Has
it's
he
interesting because
has he reported to anything, by the way, or is he like full on holdout?
yeah, so he's come out and spoken a little. Like he's on holdout right now. He has not shown up to camp. He has not like participated. He It's interesting because the
That's
difference right now, it's like I mean,
that's
it's just
crazy.
like 49ers offered something. I read something about a couple hours ago, the latest news on this, because it's changing every day. And I don't, sources are not going to be as accurate to like what's actually happening inside the
Sure.
room. I mean, but
Yeah.
they came out with a latest offer, and apparently he's still not pleased with what's happening. And yeah, it's I don't know. And it's interesting too because with all of that, even before the offer, him requesting a trade, I don't know. That one's a little trickier. I feel like compared to the CD Lamb situation.
Yeah.
That one's more. That's a normalized situation right there. Being he just wants to be the highest paid receiver. He just wants what he thinks he's worth. And the Cowboys gave him a 33 mil offer, which is 2 mil behind Jefferson, which that's very generous and that's very good. But it's a great
Yeah.
offer. But he wants to be the highest paid non-quarterback in the league. And I understand he was probably the best receiver on stat outside of Tyreek Hill last year. So I'm like, get paid. It's your time. Contract ends. So,
Yeah.
but he's still holding out
You
too.
want
And
to know?
Jerry Jones, literally, like he came out a couple days ago and he just seemed like he wasn't pressed or he wasn't even bothered by it. And he wasn't like in a
I saw
rush to
that.
even
Yeah.
get signed. And I was like, are you kidding me? Like, this is CD Lamb you're talking about. I'm like, week one is coming up like
Yeah.
right around the corner. Like, I don't know.
Yeah.
So,
Dude,
yeah.
I saw. So this is interesting to bring up. Just technically speaking, for salary forfeiture, it's really interesting. It's something that me as for training or for studying for the NFLPA contract advisor exam. So in training camp, a salary, the player's salary forfeiture begins after their 6th day of absence. So if they miss 6 days, that's the first day that they start getting salary forfeiture. The maximum forfeiture is 15% of their bonus proration. And then after the 6th day, it's 1% per day, up to 25% of their bonus proration during training camp and preseason. Then during the regular season, 25% bonus proration can be forfeited with the first missed game. So if he misses one game by not showing up or not reporting, he loses 25% of his bonus proration. And by the way, for people who don't know, when you sign an NFL contract and there is a bonus tied to it, the way that it works is if it's $10 million over 5 years, the player gets $10 million on day one. They sign it, they get $10 million. The team gets to prorate it on their cap over the length of the contract up to 5 years. So if it's a 5-year contract, $10 million signing bonus, they get to prorate it to $2 million, $2 million, $2 million, $2 million, $2 million. So that means whatever that year's proration is, he can lose up to 50% of it if he misses all of training camp, all of preseason games, and then he misses the first game. 50% of whatever his signing bonus is. I'm actually really curious what his signing bonus proration is this year, because I would love to know how much he's willing to bet on this. I have to know. Let me look at his contract really quick. Let's see. So this year, 2024. Wow.
What is it?
That's interesting. So he signed a 4-year, $12.5 million contract in 2020. So, and it was fully guaranteed with a 5th-year option available. That's nutty. So that means, his contract, if he's cut in 2024, his dead cap is $14,124. But he has no signing bonus proration. All of the money is in base salary. So he's playing his cards really well right now. So he's losing no money. I mean, he can still get fined. But wow, that's really crazy. Good for him. That's nuts. Anyways, that's the technical details of not reporting for stuff and holding out. It's really got to be worth it because you lose a lot of money. You know, you have to actually pay them back.
Yeah, I would not know any of what you just said. The only reason I do know is literally just from playing Madden. Literally playing online Dynasty and Madden with friends, because you have to understand cap and keep the cap.
Yep.
So everything you were literally just saying, I was just putting myself in, putting my team on the line there, and I was like, yeah, okay.
That's awesome.
I love it though, man. I love it.
Yeah.
I don't know. Those things, it happens every year, and it's something.
Yeah, man, it's interesting.
There's sorry, I was just reading that. I was going more on that contract. That's just crazy to me. I don't know. Football's coming up though. We got, this is a great Saturday actually too. There's a lot outside of football that's going on as well around the world. We got Premier League season for soccer opening weekend. That's electric. And we got why am I blinking? Preseason coming right now. Fantasy football for all you fantasy football enthusiasts. You guys probably got your drafts coming up or have them already. That's going to be interesting too. There's already talks about, Justin Jefferson. Where does he fall in the draft? And so I don't know. There's just a lot going on, and there's so much just content revolving around sports in this fall season right now. Where it's just yeah.
This is when I feel like you just get this little lull. Olympic years are great because you don't really have to have a lull throughout the summer. We have baseball and stuff like that, but you can still, as an avid sports fan just in general, you can get your fix. but now we're in this like
Yeah.
little lull where it's like the build up to arguably the most exciting time of the year. And I don't know. I'm excited. It's going to be a great final 2024 last, what is it, 4 months. And I don't know. I think this is going to be a great time to watch college football and watch NFL. And it's just going to be awesome. I'm really curious. This is super off the beaten path because nobody really talks about it, but just like the growth and the future of, I think, is it called UFL now? Or is it was XFL and USFL? They combined to UFL, right? And we saw Adrian Martinez was the player of the year, offensive player of the year, or maybe he was the MVP. I don't know, whatever. But he got signed to who? Who
Jets.
signed him?
The Jets.
The Jets. Which is awesome. I think that's amazing. Nebraska alum, and also kind of just like shows the really cool potential in what the UFL could be, which I think is what a lot of people expected it to be, is not a direct competitor to the NFL because they're very strategically placed right after the NFL season ends. So that means they're not really trying to like overtake the NFL by any means, but they're trying to like provide maybe people like you who don't have football to watch, and then also added benefit players can basically use it as like a growth stage to say, okay, I want to, get prepared for the NFL. Yeah, I have not looked that deeply into the UFL's rules, but the way the NFL works is you have to be 3 years removed from high school to declare and play in the NFL. I'm curious if we'll see, if they don't have that same rule in the UFL, I'm curious if we'll see players leave high school and directly go play in the UFL for 3 years and then with the hopes of getting drafted in the NFL.
Yeah.
There's so little information, by the way, available about like the UFLPA and like UFL contracts, and just like we're blessed that the NFL has such open books and like you can see all of the regulations and stuff like that. I don't know what the UFL is thinking, but it's hard to know these answers. So yeah, no, I'm really curious to see how that plays out and if that's even allowed.
Yeah. Listen to this. I was just reading something over 80 UFL players have signed NFL contracts.
That's awesome. I love that. And there's 8 teams and 50 active. So that means of the 400 players, that's pretty awesome. That's 20.
I don't know how many are. I don't know how many still are. Yeah, I don't know how many still are like on team. But the fact that you got that chance, or you were on practice team, or training camp, or backup, even to the same field. That's just that's a dream come true. So,
by the way, it took all of 2 seconds to Google this. The UFL has the exact same rules as the NFL. You have to be removed from high school 3 years, and then you can play. So never mind.
Okay, cool.
Okay. Yeah.
Speaking about UFL, since Fox and ownership over that and such.
Yeah.
Let's. Do you want to talk about venue?
Is that what it has? Is that how it's pronounced? Venue? I thought it was venue. I'm serious. So venue. Okay.
No, venue.
Venue.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean,
I think it's interesting.
I don't know. With just like I feel like I didn't know as much as I should till you sent me the article, because I actually didn't know behind the scenes of what the judge actually stated and why, and even the revenue around all of that being lost to up to 6 months of maybe a waiting or hold off on it. Mm-hmm. It's stated on more of that approach. That's wild to me, but
I don't understand why. Again, zero research, so I'm just talking without taking 13 seconds to Google this. But like, why is Fubo able to do this, but companies like, I don't know, anyone else get mad at another company and be like, well, they're going to take all of our business. So then they open up an antitrust case against them. Like the biggest and best example I can think of is Uber. Is like Uber killed all taxis essentially, and there was no antitrust case that meant anything. I'm sure there was some blockage. I think I remember a while ago in New York they tried to like it was like temporarily banned or something like that. I don't know, but I don't know. I think it's not gonna hold up. I think this antitrust case with Venue is probably very ill-defined, and there's just not going to be enough evidence to have it hold up and be like, "Yep, this is full-on antitrust." But I mean, when you look at it though, just like surface level, three of the biggest entertainment and sports companies partnering to do something is like a little, yeah. I don't know.
Yeah, big bro.
Yeah,
So is that's the main reason looking into it, just to confirm, like it sounds like just taking basically their share of, like, clients from people
yeah.
in that whole
I mean,
sense.
it's basically so like Google just lost. Well, they're appealing it, but massive antitrust case that was basically saying that Google has a chokehold on search engines and whatnot. And the statistics were released with the findings that 91% of all Google searches, or that sorry, let's see, like we even say it synonymously, 90% of all internet searches go through Google. And so the judge was like, yeah, that's not okay. And on top of that, Google was paying Apple $20 billion a year to have iPhones default to search for Google. So when you open up your phone on your iPhone and you type in anything to like the search bar and you hit enter, you subconsciously aren't going, oh, I wonder where this is going to search. You know it's going to run a Google search. Google has been paying Apple $20 billion a year to do that. So it's and it's not necessarily, we're not even talking about like Safari versus Chrome. We're just talking about like how we search for something. And I think it was Bing has like 9% or something like that. So it's like Bing versus Google, and who uses Bing? No one.
I forgot about Bing, man. Yeah, I forgot
Everybody
about.
forgot about Bing. I don't know, but that's like the most obvious example of like antitrust, where it's like you control 91% of the market. The judge very likely, there's lots of different options. They're just basically going to make them split up. So like they'll spin off YouTube and they'll spin off Chrome and they'll spin off all these different things to their own different companies. So it's not like so massive and large. And yeah, I don't know, but yeah, it's interesting to see what will happen with this Venue. I don't think there's going to be anything substantial coming out of this. I really don't.
No.
We'll see
Was
though.
there any was there anything like this that happened with the last 5 years with every major media company coming out with their streaming service? When it was just Netflix. So, and then like, oh,
No,
Peacock, and then let's go Disney, and then let's go, Hulu, and then like, and then it became like
yeah.
every, so like that's a whole thing
Well,
of.
ironically, that's the opposite of what antitrust is. That is how they want it to happen. Is that instead of all of these companies or all of these one company
Yeah,
controlling everything, they
it's a
want
competitive
multiple
market.
companies to try it. So it's a competitive marketplace.
Yeah.
Which Fubo's argument is that this destroys their business model and they're going to lose millions in dollars, and by the end of 2024 they'll go bankrupt, and the judge believed them. So yeah, I mean the only other example that I could think of was Disney bought ESPN and they came out with their bundle. It was like ESPN Plus and Hulu
Hulu
and something,
too.
but like it was,
Yeah.
yeah, Hulu. So, but I mean that's not really, I don't know. They didn't control a massive, huge portion of the market. They just combined a few companies and you paid one subscription for all of them, which I think is what Venue is gonna. I can't get Venue out of my head. Venue is gonna be. Yeah, I don't know. VENU. It's Venue. It's not
Venue.
venue. Venue. Mm. Yeah, man.
Yeah.
I don't know.
No,
Yeah.
that's good. What else is happening in the world right now? America finished first in the Olympics. They didn't finish first in gold, but they finished over total medals. I'm gonna say right now, I don't think that's a win. I would consider a win being who got the most gold medals, in my opinion. I know, like,
I
I don't know.
there's so much argument and stuff like. Well, we tied. We got 40 gold. China got 40 gold.
Oh, okay. So we did
So
tie.
we tied. So,
Okay, then
but
we
which
won because
means we
we had
won
one more.
because usually I was gonna say I don't know how I think it's like the way it works is like you get 5 points for gold, 3 points for silver, and 1 point for bronze, or something like that, in order to figure out like who's ahead. And so if we have 40 gold, and China has 40 gold, but then we finished with 126 medals and blew everyone else out of the water. Dude, I saw someone made a chart of all companies, all countries' medal counts from the Olympics. So the history of the Olympics, excluding the US, and Russia's number one. And then all they did was add in the United States gold medal count. Not all of our medals, just our gold medal counts. And we like blew everyone out of the water. So just our gold count is more than every other country's combined like medal count. So it's not really fair. We're really competing against ourselves when we go to the
Michael
Olympics.
Phelps and Simone Biles. Dude, Russia. I didn't realize this till 2 weeks in. Like Russia not competing. I was like, oh yeah.
I don't think they were allowed at the
No, they weren't.
the
They weren't allowed. I remember
at
that
20
was way back. Forgot though.
No, but Japan, or not, was it Japan? Where was the last one?
Was it Tokyo?
Was it Japan? What was the last Summer Olympics? I'm pretty sure it was Japan. Summer Olympics.
Tokyo, yeah.
Tokyo, yeah. I'm pretty sure they weren't allowed there too, and it was a big deal because if I remember correctly, it was Medvedev was competing, and he's Russian, or he wasn't allowed to compete or something like that. Yeah, I can't remember. Yeah, no, I recalled that like 2 weeks into the Olympics, like, oh my gosh, the Russians aren't here.
I want to recap. Yeah, I want to recap actually a couple of things off the Olympics. I barely watched the Olympics, but there were a lot of iconic performances and moments, I would say, which actually took me by surprise. First, Djokovic winning his first Olympic.
So happy.
That was
so
awesome.
Happy, dude.
I'm not even like, I know he's not American, but like, come on, like, let's go.
Dude, so happy. Undisputed GOAT. Don't even talk to me. I love Federer. I love Nadal a little less. Undisputed GOAT. Fight me. I'll die on that hill, dude. Statistically, everything. Undisputed GOAT. Let's go. Yeah. I was so happy for him. Dude, he was so emotional. Did you see him like with his family afterwards? It meant so much to him. That was awesome. I was so happy. Yeah.
Me too. Yeah. So that was iconic seeing that because that was his first Olympic ever, right? Gold medal.
Yeah. Right? Yeah. So now he has the most majors, and now he has an Olympic gold medal. So he physically cannot do more to prove that he's the best. It's like that video with Kobe Bryant and Kanye West, where he's like, more. He's like, how much more can I do? I'm already the best. And he's like, more. It's like, that's like Djokovic right now. He's like, he can't do more. He's done it. He's proved it 10 times over. He can't do more. It's awesome. He's competing against himself, and I love it.
No, yeah. And I love, too, that his opponent, what's his name? Jan Prodigy. That's one. What's his name? Alcaraz.
Alcaraz. Yeah.
Yeah, and not just like a couple months ago, losing to him, getting swept by him, basically, and coming back just a couple months later and handling business against him again in the finals. So that was pretty cool. Outside of that, Simone Biles, I've never actually paid attention to much Olympics of like gymnastics. Dude, I was screaming. I was on my couch screaming every time she would get up. Like, that was the most electric thing I've ever seen in my life. Like, they literally have. I'm people that ever watch gymnastics are gonna call me stupid, but I'm learning while I'm watching it. I know nothing about gymnastics, and it's so funny because every like performance she does or move they call, they have a name for everything. half of the things
Yeah.
are things that she can only do and the rest of the competition physically can't do. So she puts herself in like a
Yep.
difficulty of like above others, and they're all named after her.
Yeah.
So like, oh, this is the
That's
biles she's
awesome.
doing. Oh, this is the, and they're all named after her because no one else can
Yeah.
even touch that ceiling that she's in. And then she just walks away with the gold every time. And I'm like, yo, this is crazy. And I was like, I don't know.
Yeah,
It
dude.
was that was insane.
To be
And
so
then
good that you're competing against yourself, that's awesome. That's amazing.
yeah. Another iconic performance, golf. Scotty Scheffler. I don't know if you pay
Yeah,
attention to
man.
that.
Dude,
That was insane.
yeah. I saw the history of golf at the Olympics too, is that like supposedly it wasn't in the Olympics for a while. Which I had no idea. And like also people just didn't take it very seriously when it was in the Olympics. But yeah, that was awesome. Go Scotty, man. That was amazing.
Yeah, I don't know if a number one player in the world has ever won the Olympic gold. I don't.
Yeah.
So that was, and also the way he won as well, going into Sunday, the last day for like, championship Sunday, he was down 8 strokes, for instance. So yeah, he was down 8 strokes against John Rahm, I believe. He shot 9 under. So he shot 9 under on an 18 in this on Sunday. I watched the highlight recap. That was probably since like what 2012 and 2019 from Tiger's Masters and from his Tiger's prime. That was one of the best performances of an 18 I've ever seen in the longest time. He literally for like 4 or 5 holes in a row, it literally was just birdie, 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 birdie. Like he literally was just. I'm like, this dude's insane.
Yeah, man, it's awesome.
The funniest thing too around the whole thing was they were doing like first day of school signs with all the golfers, and they were like showing all the countries and all the the tops, all of them, and they're like they put your name and then they put what you're looking forward to like do at the Olympics, and everyone's like, yeah. My name's Rory McIlroy and I'm excited to win gold. Like that's my goal, and
Sure.
everyone had the same thing. Everyone kept saying, my name is this, and my goal is to win gold or to medal. And then he gets to Scotty Scheffler, and he's like, my name is Scotty Scheffler, and I want to have fun.
That was like I love that.
Like, oh, okay,
cool. That's awesome.
So yeah,
that's amazing. Yeah.
So
that's awesome, dude. Nice.
Man, good Olympic.
I just realized we this is our first podcast since I took the NFLPA contract advisor exam. I don't know if we've ever like fully broken down what that exam is. So, all right, high level, here we go. If you want to be an NFL agent, it is arguably the highest barriers to entry compared to every other sport to be a certified agent. So the MLB has their MLBPA, the NBA has the NBAPA, the NFL has the NFLPA, which is just NFL Players Association. So in order to be an NFL agent, you have to sit for and pass an exam. It's called the NFLPA Contract Advisor exam. They hold it once a year on one day during like a 6-hour period. It is fairly expensive to sit for. Then you have to pay for an insanely comprehensive background check. And it has a 20% pass rate. So that's all the meat about the actual test. Okay. In order to even have the right to sit for the test, you either have to have 7 years of proven negotiating experience. They're fairly strict on that. You either have to have, so 7 years of negotiating experience that's proven and you can show it, or you have to be an MBA graduate or a JD graduate. And an MBA is Master of Business Administration. JD is Juris Doctoris. So that just basically means you're a lawyer. Interestingly, you don't have to be a practicing lawyer, so you don't have to be licensed. So you can have your JD and not have your license, but you're just not a lawyer. You're just a JD. So once you have your undergrad, then you get your MBA or JD, then you pay a bunch of money, then you do a background check, then you have the right to sit for this exam, and then you have a 20% chance of passing. After all that, then you're allowed to start signing NFL athletes. So it's quite a high barrier of entry.
Yeah.
And this last July, I took it. I did all of those things, and I will find out fairly soon here if I passed. It was an extremely hard test, lots of prep, lots of long nights and long days of studying, but I'm very confident, and it's about 10% of the battle once you get certified, because after you're certified, NFL agents are responsible for all of the pre-combine, pre-pro day training that players receive. So whenever you see a player in Indianapolis running the 40-yard dash or whatever, not a week prior, they had just spent the last 2 months in some place training, probably Exos. That's the biggest one. But they spent the last 2 months training where they were given food, housing, therapy, strength conditioning, position training, a rental car, stipends, you name it. And all of that expense falls to their agent. So the agent is responsible for paying for all of those things. And so the ones that you see in Indianapolis, obviously that's a huge deal that you made it to Indianapolis. If you don't get an invite to Indianapolis, you still do all that training, and your agent is still responsible for all that. But then you have to perform at your pro day. And if you go to a small school and you don't have a pro day, you are allowed to, and it's very common to just find a bigger school within, a reasonable distance from you who has a pro day and say, hey, I go to this school 2 hours away. Can I come compete at your pro day? And they'll say yes. But then that's your chance to perform. Very often, players will get invited to Indianapolis and only compete in like 2 of the events. It's like the NFL Olympics. I've never drawn that dot before. It's like the Olympics. Everybody's competing in the same events. They should start giving out medals. But yeah, so if you get the invite to Indy, you compete in what you want to, and if you skip something, you can also do it at your pro day. Alternatively, you can run twice. Like if you do the 40-yard dash and you get like a 4.73 and you're like, nah, I think I can do better. Then you can at your pro day run and hopefully get, go faster. But the risk with that is you run slower on your pro day and that tanks your draft stock. But yeah. So then after all that, you sit around and you wait to see if you're drafted. And obviously, slim chance of being drafted. There's 256 players drafted. And of the 1,600 people who declare for the draft. So that means there is approximately, 1,200 people more that did all of that and they didn't get drafted. So then the day after, or like literally the hours after the draft concludes, it's like a speed run for teams to go out and sign UDFAs, which is undrafted free agents. So when you're signed as an undrafted free agent, obviously you're not making millions and millions and millions of dollars. You have a minimal signing bonus. Nothing is really guaranteed. It's still an opportunity. And so you have an off-season limit of 90 man roster. And then by a certain cutoff date, you have to cut your roster from 90 to 53 man. So that means 53 people are allowed to be on your active roster, and the rest of those people who get cut sometimes will get signed as a practice squad player. And that's like if you look at player contracts, which anyone who doesn't know, player contracts are public. You can look at player contracts. If you want to get like the really, really details, you can pay for it. I recommend SpotRack or Spotrick. I don't know how you pronounce it, but basically you can go see all the transaction history. And you'll see like a player's like cut, August 17th, and by like the Colts, and then like on August 18th, it'll say player signed to the Colts practice squad. So like very often, if you get cut and you busted your ass and you were a great player and whatever, they'll sign you as a practice squad. But if you don't, that means you did all of that work, all of that money was invested into you, and now you're not on a team, which is devastating, obviously, for a lot of people. But then the agent's job is to go and find a team for that player to play for. And so it's, that was a really long-winded explanation of the process, what it looks like to take a player from 3 years removed from high school into the NFL. But it's obviously probably the largest. It's the biggest honor I think a player could have when they're really passionate about playing football, and everybody wants a chance to do it. And that's really what WA is all about. We want to take people who are that passionate and work with them in college, work with them with NIL deals, build a strong relationship with them, and then see you through to the NFL. And we pay for all of it. That's our jobs. We sponsor you to be trained, to have physical therapy, to have everything you need to be well prepared for your chance to compete for a spot on a 53-man roster, or even a 90-man roster. So yeah, that was the exam I sat for. It was really intensive. It was a great experience. I can safely say that I am an expert in NFL contracts and the NFLPA, and it was honestly a great honor to even have the chance to sit for the exam. And I'll find out in like T-minus 13 days if I passed, and I will be celebrating for like all of 10 minutes before get down to brass tacks and the real work starts. But it's gonna be a great year and next 5 years, and we have lots of stuff coming that we're very excited for. So I just wanted to give some context as to, first of all, why we haven't had a podcast in like a month, and also what we're all about. So yeah. And I'm also surrounded by football helmets, which is cool.
Yes, sir. Yeah, congratulations, though. I know I've said that privately to you again, but that's amazing. It's well. It's a huge accomplishment. And I have a question actually about the whole process, and thanks for diving into that, because I think it's self-explanatory to me and you, but to people that maybe aren't in that world, it isn't.
Yeah, very nuanced.
Yeah, exactly. So what did you enjoy, though, with the process of prepping or taking?
Mm-hmm.
Like what was what was your thoughts on that? Like, what did you enjoy more on that?
Yeah, it's a good question. I think prepping for it was really fun. So I think I'm like a unique case. So I played college football. I do enjoy watching football. I'm nowhere near the level of a intimate fan as like Alec or everybody I grew up with. They're the fans who are like, they'll tell you who the third grade teacher of the fourth string offensive tackle is. Like, they just have this in-depth, crazy retention of knowledge that I've never ever been able to like connect with. But I've always respected it. It's such a cool, like, they're so into it. Yeah. And so for me, the prep process was really cool because I worked with Shaquille O'Neal's former agent, who also, obviously, he's a basketball player. So he was an NBA and an NFL agent, but his name is Joel Corey. And so he tutored me to take the test. And I spent 2 months learning all about this exam. And for me, what was the coolest part was like these real world examples, and people who don't understand how complex the process of like signing an NFL contract is, the numbers behind it, the math behind it, the why behind it. By the way, when we were talking about like the whole Brandon Ayuk and the whole 49ers and salary forfeiture and all that kind of stuff, it took me 30 seconds to realize, the 49ers have the most cap space right now. They have $35 million in cap space. So Brandon Ayuk is smart. He's like, I know you have the money. Use it on me. So like, that's just an example of like, I know how to connect the dots now. And I know that's not something to like brag about. Everybody can probably knows how to do that. But it's just like understanding the complexities of like the why behind certain things was really cool. And just learning about really, really tiny details. One of the coolest things I learned about was this. I'm going to tell you the exact name of it because I thought it was really awesome. It's called NFL Players Inc., which is I had never heard of. But it is basically, I'm going to my notes. So it's a for-profit licensing division of the NFLPA. So basically, if they work exclusively with, they call them GLAs, so they're group licensing agreements. So if there is a player who signs a deal with Rolex, and Rolex doesn't work with any other NFL players, then the NFL Players Inc. has nothing to do with it. But if Rolex is like, hey, we want to work with like 10 NFL athletes separately, but like we still want to work with 10 of them, the NFL Players Inc. will come in and basically help with that entire process. That's a really cool thing that like most people don't know about. The bigger one though is called the Trust, and it's eligible for players who have 2 credited seasons. And essentially what it is, and it's retroactive too. So this isn't, it was created in, I believe, 2010 or 11. But the Trust is a organization that is set up for former NFL players to basically make sure their health is okay and make sure that they're like taken care of. So part of it is just like one of the cool benefits is every 5 years a player is allowed to, on the Trust's dime, because it's technically free for the player. The player, when they were playing in the NFL, paid into this. Part of their, they paid into this. So every 5 years, they're allowed to basically get this 3-day intense body checkup. So it's like an MRI, it's a CAT scan, it's X-rays, it's it takes 3 days, and they have to like fly to this location, and they live there for 3 days, and they can bring their spouse and that kind of stuff. But it's a comprehensive health assessment essentially, and every 5 years they're allowed to do it, and it's really cool. And they made sure, so like in preparation for the exam, you sit in a seminar or like a meeting with the actual NFLPA. So I sat in and I got to listen to some great speakers and some great people. But one of the people we talked to was with the Trust, and he was just really passionate about it. And it's this really cool thing. I think it was like one of my highlights of learning about this whole process, and like what's available for NFL players is like how much even post your career, the NFLPA is there to like help you, and the resources are available to you. As far as the exam itself, it was interesting. It was taken in a nondescript building 60 miles outside of LA, and it's at a third-party testing company, so they can remain anonymous. And like it was like going through a TSA airport when you take the test. They like make you pull out your pockets, pat you down. It was like so. Like, yeah, it was really, and like any little tiny thing that you, because they have a camera on you the whole time. I forgot that too. They have like a security person sitting there, and they have a screen with the people taking the tests, and they're just watching you the entire time. And so you have 3 hours to take this exam, and it's 60 questions. So it's like the entire time you're sitting there watching this test, or you're taking this test, there's someone sitting there and they're like watching you. It's really funny. It was a little stressful, but I don't know why.
Sounds very stressful.
Having someone watch you for 3 straight hours is a little weird. And so, and you're not, there's no breaks. You can't like, hey, can I, take a pause? I have to pee really badly. So it's, but the actual test was cool. It obviously changes every year. So like you can do minimal research or some research into the exam. But every year it's going to be unique. So like this year they talked a lot about benefits. Which like hearing from other agents that I've talked to and stuff like that was new this year. That like other years that wasn't as big, and so they really harped on like benefits, which is actually lines up with our pre-meeting with the NFLPA, that they brought in someone from the Trust, and they brought in someone who can talk about benefits and all that kind of stuff. Is that like they really want to make sure that the agents who are representing clients really understand benefits and like the process of making sure your player is well taken care of. So yeah, the exam was, again, I was I'm very fortunate to be a great test taker, not to like toot my own horn, but I really enjoy taking tests. And so I fortunately had like 40 minutes to spare when I finished the test. So I had a lot of time to like carefully go back and like reread every question, redo the math, like, yeah. And they told us that they said it a lot of times that they're like, we're not here to trick you. Because people would be asking questions during our meeting beforehand with the NFLPA, be like, whatever. They would ask questions and the NFLPA, personnel would basically kept harping on like, we're not here to trick you. Like there's not gonna be like crazy trick questions on the test. If you ask me, there was definitely some trick questions on the test that like if you were an average person who like underestimated how hard this test was and like you went into this test underprepared, you 100% fell for the tricks. And it's really tiny like little details that you like had to know. And if you didn't and you just like quickly read it, you're like, oh, that's such an easy question, and you answer it and you move on. So yeah, I don't know. I enjoyed taking the test. I was able to meet another person who was with CAA who was taking the test. He was a nice guy. Yeah, I don't know. That whole process was very comprehensive. It was a lot, but it was a lot of fun, and I'm very excited to put what I learned into practice. And yeah, we'll see what happens. So
thanks for explaining all that.
I know. Yeah, dude. I think yeah, we'll probably get into it in more weeks, but that probably wraps it up for today. Yeah, thanks for tuning in. We appreciate it. We will see you guys back in a couple of weeks.
See you guys.
Bye.